Hello everyone and welcome to my booktube channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Dumplin by Julie Murphy. This novel follows our main character named Willow Dean, who is a self-proclaimed fat girl and is very confident with herself and with her body, up until the point that she starts to get attention from a couple of boys and everything in her mind is sort of thrown into chaos. Amid this, she is still grieving an aunt that passed away recently, and both of these things collide until she one day decides to enter into a beauty pageant and reclaim herself. For this review, I have got my red shirt on because Dumplin. And I tried to find some heart-shaped lollipops like the main love interest in this book has, but I could only find a grape one, and it's round, so I sort of feel like a failure, but we're gonna do this anyway. Come to think of it, I don't know how old this lollipop is. Okay, I think I'm gonna not do that anymore. Moving on to the review. This review is actually going to be spoiler free, so if you have not read this book, never fear, you can stay and hear all of my unspoilery thoughts about it. So I guess the first thing you guys should know is that I really enjoyed this novel. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. There were only a couple of things that I didn't like about it, and I'll get to that towards the end of this review. But for the most part, I really loved it, and that's why I give it 4.5. Some of the things that I loved about it in short was the Texas scenery, body confidence, as well as the extremely short chapters. Praise the book gods. These are all things that I feel like aren't seen very often in YA, surprisingly, and so I was super excited when I heard that this book was coming out. The author is actually from and lives in my home state of Texas, and so when I heard that this book was also taking place in Texas, I knew that she would do that justice, and she most certainly did. She paints the Texas landscape with atmosphere and precision, and I absolutely loved getting to see a small Texas town in a YA novel because I never see that, but I love it because I know those places. Along with that small town atmosphere comes the expectations of people in a small town, and I'm not saying that people in small Texas towns can be a little bit high and mighty, but yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Which is why it is a perfect setting for this novel, because our main character, Willow Dean, is challenging everyone. Because primarily this book is about a single girl choosing over and over again to love herself and her body despite the criticism of others. But it actually ends up being quite more than that. Because she decides to join in a beauty pageant, she accidentally inspires a bunch of other misfit girls to join in with her in this strange adventure. Each of these girls are bullied because of their own separate reasons, and they all have different backgrounds and motives for being in the pageant, but they are all united by this one common goal of proving that they are better than what people think of them. And because of that, they end up becoming this sort of dysfunctional ragtag group of friends as they navigate these uncharted waters together. And even though they really didn't get along most of the time, I still really like the dynamic of their group. The female friendship aspect ended up being a lot bigger of a factor than I expected it to, and I was really pleasantly surprised. In this novel, Willow Dean is fighting with her best friend because of some of the things that go down early on. And while I did have mixed feelings in general about Willow Dean's best friend, I still thought she was in the end redeemable, as well as Willow Dean's mother, who I really struggled to like just because of how cold and thoughtless she was most of the time. But in a way, the behavior all tied back to the fact that Willow Dean's aunt had recently passed away, and the whole family had been really hit hard by it, Willow Dean especially. You get to see little flashbacks of Willow Dean's time with her aunt, and I just absolutely loved those flashbacks, even though they broke my heart most of the time. You could really see what a great bond that they had with each other and how important they were to each other. And I think strong familial bonds like that are often overlooked in YA, and so I really appreciated seeing that in this novel. As for the romance, I thought it was pretty believable. There are two boys sort of vying for Willow Dean's affection, and while that sort of borders on love triangle, I think it was done well. I personally really liked Beau. I didn't love him with all my heart and soul. soul, but I thought he was cute and sweet. With this love triangle, it was more of the case that Willow Dean knew which of the boys that she loved, but she was too afraid to accept this boy's love in return. Really, the only complaint I had about this novel is that I thought more of it would take place in the actual beauty pageant, but it was actually pretty skimmed over, and the novel is more about what leads Willow Dean and all of the other girls to enter into this beauty pageant as opposed to just the beauty pageant itself. However, it didn't feel too lengthy. It was still a wonderful coming-of-age story, and I read it in 2 days. It flew by. I think that the themes throughout this novel are just so important and relatable, because even if it's not your body and it's something else entirely that you struggle with, you can find wisdom here. You can replace the word fat with anything that society has deemed a flaw. Skinny, fat, tall, short, and follow this character through a journey of self-discovery and acceptance. There's heart-shaped lollipops and cute cowboys and friendship and female empowerment and drag queens and Dolly Parton songs and family, and it's just such a good book, you guys. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest you do. So that is it for all of my thoughts and opinions on Dumplin by Julie Murphy. You guys should let me know down below if you have read Dumplin and what you thought of it. If you haven't read it, you should definitely pick it up. I will leave the link to a couple of places that you can buy it in the description box below. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. If you guys would like to follow me on Twitter or any of my social medias, I will leave all the links down below in the description box as always. But most of all, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!